welcome to our first PropTech panel for 2022. I'm Jennifer Harrison and I'm the Vice President of the PropTech Association Australia. The PropTech panel is a regular monthly webinar organised by the PropTech Association Australia and hosted by Stone & Chalk. In the spirit of reconciliation, I'd like to acknowledge that I am on the land of the Wallamedigal people of the Darug Nation, and PropTech Association Australia acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. PropTech Association is a member organisation by PropTech for PropTech. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a member or an associate, please head over to our website, proptechassociation.com.au. And if you don't already follow our LinkedIn page, please do that as well, so you can stay up to date with our news and events. Stone & Chalk are more than our event host today. They are also one of the association's foundation supporters. From its start in 2015 as a not-for-profit in Sydney, focused on helping fintech startups to commercialise and grow, Stone & Chalk today is home to some 200 startups in Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide, covering all areas of emerging technology, including PropTech, and currently around 30 PropTechs call Stone & Chalk home. I'd also like to thank our other foundation supporters, Ashurst Lawyers, Macquarie Bank, the Real Estate Institute of Western Australia, PEXA, and Web IT List Once. Now, let's get into today's panel. We're talking about how data is changing the way we invest in residential real estate. Residential real estate is actually our largest asset class in Australia, and it's very clear that Aussies love property. But how sophisticated are we when it comes to investing with the goal of getting a return on that investment? When you're investing in property, it's vitally important to make a smart decision. And in this day and age, that means using technology so you can make an informed decision with the benefit of data. In 2022, there are over 1 trillion data points available on Australia's housing stock of some 12 million dwellings. Those data points cover pretty much everything you need to know about a property's investment prospects, such as schools, transport infrastructure, rental yields, historical price growth, population growth, median dwelling and average rental prices, and more. So to help us talk about that today, I've been joined by 3 expert guests. So let's say hello to them now. My first guest is Eleanor Creagh, who is a senior economist at PropTrack, which is part of the REA group. Hello, Eleanor. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Hi, Jennifer. I'm great, thanks. How are you? It's good to be here.
Absolutely. I'm excited for our first panel for 2022. And you've got a beautiful backdrop there. Where are you joining us from?
Thank you. It's Sydney's famous Bondi Beach. It's actually a drone shot, one of PropTrack's drone shots. It's a great one, isn't it?
It's beautiful. Our second guest today is Mickael Roger. Mickael is co-founder and co-CEO of PropHero. Mickael, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Excellent, Jen. Thanks a lot for organizing this event. Really happy to be here with you guys.
Pleasure having you. And where are you joining us?
I'm in Sydney at the moment, in the city, but I actually live right behind Eleanor's picture in Bondi.
Beautiful. And our third guest is Ajay Ayyar, who's the founder of PropertyDirector. Hiya, Ajay. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Hi, Jennifer. I'm good, thanks.
And where are you joining us from?
Yeah, Sydney, Australia. So I'm in the suburbs here in West Pennant Hills in this Hills district.
Nice. Fantastic. Eleanor, let's start with you, please. For people who don't already know PropTrack, can you give us a quick introduction, please?
Yeah, for sure. At PropTrack, we really think of ourselves as, I guess, the authority on the property market. We're first and foremost a data business within REA Group. We're home to Australia's most accurate AVM, and we've got a host of unique and highly scalable data-driven products. And I guess in today's world, information is power, and we have the ability at PropTrack to see the property market moving in real time. So we're really at the forefront of these insights as it relates to the market.
Super cool. Data is so exciting, and I'm really glad to have all of you here today. Eleanor, you just mentioned an AVM. For the people who might not know what that acronym is that an
automated valuation model? So it's a statistically derived estimate of a property's valuation at a given point in time. So it's a model that uses all sorts of smart statistical methods, machine learning, mathematical models to try and estimate the value of a property with a whole load of different data points at any given time.
Great. And as a senior economist, what is your role in the business?
Yeah, sure. We provide support to PropTrack across a number of different objectives. We're also there to add value to consumers and customers within REA Group. So we've got this wealth of data at our fingertips. With that proprietary data, I guess we're tasked in helping people make the best decisions they can when it comes to the property market, whether that's an investor, whether that's an owner-occupier buyer, a first home buyer. So I guess in essence, supporting the businesses, consumers and customers to really make the most informed property decisions that they can. You know, data and decision making, it's really at the heart of what I'm passionate about. And this past 2 years, really since the pandemic began, it's been such an interesting time to be an economist, and particularly at REA Group and PropTrack. We're just at the forefront of all these trends that we've seen emerging with respect to, you know, people's shifting housing needs and their lifestyle preferences, and really seeing that unfold in real time across our platforms and all the data that we have access to.
What are some of the principal data sources that you have access to?
Of course, there's probably too many to list here, but we have access to, it's really primarily the audience data, which drives a lot of our insights. We have access to a lot of kind of demand data, where people are searching, what they're searching for. We can split that down into different geographies, different property types, different buyer types, what sort of people are inquiring on various different properties, where we're seeing more people make inquiries on properties to real estate agents, whether they're investors, whether they're first home buyers, and across many different geographies, in some cases right down to a suburb level. So that audience data is really key, and it's really a unique part of what we have access to at PropTrack. We've also got listings data, how many property listings we've got, where are they, and that's of course across the buy section of our platform, but also rent as well. And then we have property data like auction volumes, auction clearance rates, sales volumes, days on site, property attribute data, recent sales, historical sales, the valuation of various properties. That's obviously using our accurate AVM models there. Of course, on the rental side of things, we've got rental yields, median weekly rent, where people are looking to rent, and the list goes on. It's, I guess, endless when it comes to the amount of data that we have access to. And then obviously we've got a number of key economic reports and kind of bespoke analysis and insights pieces, where we really look to break down that data and digest it a little bit further, and try and tease out not just what the data is saying, but of course what it means at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So with so much data available, how do you avoid data paralysis? So how do you cut through it? How do you find what really matters? And then how do you make it meaningful and consumable for the audience?
Yeah, of course, that's a huge part of what we do. So there's a couple of different sections to your question. So I think number one, it's what I just hinted at then. It's not what does the data say, but what does it mean? And I think also when you're starting out with data, it's about having a roadmap. Where do you want to go? What are the questions that you really want to ask that data? Applying some empirical rigor and I guess methodical rigor. So you might have a starting point, but you need to know where you're going. Otherwise, it's very easy, as you say, to just get bogged down in this analysis paralysis state of mind. And then I think the second part of your question, in terms of, it's about how do you communicate to those key stakeholders? And then in that sense, it's very important to know your audience. So at PropTrack, we have a number of different kind of report styles and a number of different, whether it's a more consumer friendly audience, and we're really breaking things down so they are digestible, or whether it's a more expert audience, say the sort of valuation reports that go to experts in banks for credit risk and capital requirements and that sort of thing.
Great. Now, Eleanor, while we've got you here talking to us, I'm wondering if I could ask you to choose some of the housing market highlights from 2021 and also some of the indicators for 2022 that would be relevant and interesting to property market investors.
Yeah, of course. 2021 was just a record-breaking year for the market on many counts. So we saw mortgage rates falling to record lows. That clearly drove this large boost to affordability, to serviceability. And with that came plus 20% annual pace of price growth for much of the year. We saw prices rising Australia-wide at the fastest pace in more than 3 decades. So it was really quite remarkable. And across the platform, we just saw demand reaching record highs across a number of metrics. So we measure demand in a number of different ways at PropTrack. Views per listing hit record highs for much of the year. Search volumes as well. Preliminary weekly sales volumes were still hitting record highs right into the second last week of December. The market was just incredibly buoyant last year. We really saw that low interest coupled with this kind of increased demand for property, the ongoing reassessment of people's lifestyle wants and housing needs. And of course, for much of the year, a quite constrained supply of properties for sale as well. So many of our states were in and out of lockdown and sellers held back from listing, but we've seen that picture has very much reversed now. And into the end of 2021, we saw new listings climbing for 3 consecutive months. And in November, we saw new listings hitting decade highs across our capital cities. That picture is starting to shift somewhat. There's a lot more choice now coming onto the market. And some of that intense competition that we saw in 2021 has certainly eased. And that's good news for buyers. Of course, I think as well, low interest rates have driven a lot of what we've seen in terms of this breakneck price growth, but that tailwind is now expiring somewhat. We've seen very quickly lower interest rates have been capitalized into higher prices. And we've also had APRA, the regulator, shifting serviceability buffers towards the end of last year as well. So that's modestly reducing borrowing capacity for new buyers as well. So I think the combination of those factors and of course the fact that hopefully the 2022, the year ahead, is going to bring a year that's got much less restrictions, hopefully lockdown free. People are out and about spending in the economy again. Borders are reopening. So it means that a little less money is going to be funneled into housing. And I think that does mean that we are going to see a much slower pace of price growth throughout the year ahead. But we've got a number of key reports that people can keep an eye on our insights page that will certainly help people stay up to the minute with what's going on in the property market across Australia.
Yes. Fantastic. When I was doing the preparation for the panel today, I did notice, and I'd like to draw to people's attention, on the realestate.com.au website, there is an Insights tab, and there is a wealth of reports and information that's available there, freely accessible. Thank you very much for kicking us off with that, Eleanor. That's been fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Let's come and talk to you a little bit about PropHero. In a nutshell, tell us about PropHero. Give us your elevator pitch.
Thanks, Dan. So, well, in very short view, PropHero, we are a data-driven property investment platform that helps you find, buy, and manage the best investment properties. Super simplest view, we are disrupting the buyer's agent industry for property investment by making property investment simple, transparent, and more profitable through technology. So, in short, if you're looking to invest in property, but you're not an expert or you don't have time, we'll do everything for you end-to-end, data-driven and digital way.
Fantastic. So let's explore a little bit more the problem that you're solving for. If people are investing in property without the benefit of data and without the benefit of a digital platform and without the help of some human expertise as well, what kind of challenges do they encounter?
Yeah, so, well, being a property investor myself, and I think what I'm going to say, everyone on the call who's ever bought an investment property will agree, Investing in property is an absolute pain. It's time consuming, it's stressful, it's non-transparent. And when you invest in property, you can have two choices. Either you do it yourself or you go through a buyer's agent or property strategist. If you do it yourself, the first question is, where do you buy? And most people in this situation buy next to where they live. But statistically, it's extremely unlikely that where you live is the best area to invest in. And then if you want to buy somewhere else in a better area, then probably you need help. But if you go to a buyer's agent or property strategist, you'll have to pay like $15,000 to $30,000 in fees. And potentially you get deals that are convenient for them because they have people in this area, but maybe not the best investment for you. And so that's really our mentality at PropHero, to make property investing simple, transparent, and more profitable. And yeah, so it's about finding the best suburbs, the best properties, and simplifying the process end to end.
And is this a global problem, do you think?
Absolutely. We actually just opened our first international office in Europe, and we may actually open another one very soon in Latin America. And what we're seeing is that property investors all around the globe are struggling. Interestingly, there was a study from the MIT in the US that compared the digital and data maturity across industries. And they found out that real estate ranked 21 out of 23. So very old school industry, very not mature yet compared to others in terms of digital and data. But this is obviously changing now, and I think to the benefit of consumers.
So tell us a little bit more about how you're using technology and what you've built on your digital platform.
Sure. We use data and AI to find the best properties within the best suburbs. And so how it works is that we constantly scan all of the 18,000 or so Australian suburbs to find the next hotspots. And within these hotspots, what type of properties are the best. And then I often hear people saying that the Austrian property market is good and that it's going up and up. It may be somewhat true overall in the long term, but actually at the local level, it's completely false. And if you look, for example, at the past 4.5 years, like 1 in 5 suburbs have seen their median price go down, 1 in 5. If you look at the data today, about 55% of suburbs would give you negative cash flows on a house. So that's really how we are using data, and being very much data-driven people, how much we outperform the market. So over time, we track how much we are outperforming in terms of yield and property values. One last thing that I would like to share with the people who are here on the call today is that there is sometimes a misconception that AI is replacing humans. I've been working in data and AI for the past 10 years across 10 industries and 4 continents. And actually, it's not true. The best result is when you combine data and AI with humans. And data and AI can see patterns that humans cannot see, but the opposite is also true. So that's why we actually combine the two, data and AI and experts together. And that's actually how you can get the best results.
Fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the customers you've already helped to invest in property, and what kind of positive feedback have you been receiving?
Yeah, so look, we actually have interestingly very diverse customers at PropHero. So I think the first group is probably like millennials, so people in their late 20s to mid 40s. They have some savings, they don't have time, they usually don't trust old school players, and they just want a great, simple, profitable digital experience. But actually, we also have much older customers who already have typically a property portfolio and who are just attracted about the data-driven approach that we have. And I think that more and more people are seeing that data is changing the world, as Eleanor was saying before, and that's what people are looking for. And look, it's pretty amazing. So as data-driven people, we have KPIs for that. One that I really like is our referral rate. So the percentage of customers who, after working with us, refer friends or family. And this percentage right now is almost 100%, which I think we'll try as much as we can to keep in.
One of the things I do like about data, but also that human element, is to the point you made before, Mickael, as some people might know, I've actually got a background in finance. So I've studied principles of finance like risk and return and diversification. And to the point you made there, look, a lot of people do buy a property in their own suburb because it's actually easy.
Exactly.
It's available, but is that going to maximize their return on investment? Well, theoretically, the answer would have to be no. So I'm curious to know a little bit more about what you're doing combining technology and humans. For example, can you walk us through a typical customer journey? Where does it all begin?
Yeah, so look, our journey is like pretty straightforward, right? So when you join us, we start with a human strategy session where we explain how we work, we explain how our data models work, what type of returns you could get, and then we define your strategy. Following this, you get access to our platform, where the best property investments that we can find. And here you can see all the insights that any property investor would dream of about the property, about the suburbs, about the macroeconomics, about all these type of things. And then once we find a property that you want to buy, then we simplify through a digital journey the entire investment process. As you were saying, Jen, so we believe that even though we are a tech company, human interaction is critical. And for a simple reason is that property investment is such an important decision. So whenever we onboard a new client, this person gets a dedicated property coach that is available almost 24/7 and who can guide and help at every step of the investment journey. And I think what's even more, what we are seeing as well is that people want, it's not only that they just want to invest, they're also interested in understanding, okay, why am I buying this? Like, why is the data suggesting this? And we actually focus a lot on education through our academy and training our clients on recognizing what's a great investment and recognizing what signals to track in the market to find great investments. And I think that's just critical today, right? Again, property is an important decision and people, they want to understand and they want to feel confident about the investment that they're making.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the process of getting the financing and making the offer or bidding at auction, it's not full, those processes are a long way from being fully digitized yet. So we do still have to have people in the process. For example, also the building condition reports and pest inspections. But I can see a fantastic role for a digital platform to be like the guiding mind or the one-stop shop where people can not only get the data and the insights, but find the right humans to help them carry out what they need to carry out to close the transaction and then get the tenants and manage the property.
Exactly.
Now, Mickael, you're about to close a seed round of capital at PropHero. Congratulations. A very exciting moment raising capital. Can you give us a little bit of a sneak peek about the investment in growth and the product that capital is going to fund?
Yeah, thanks, Jen. Well, to be honest, we're like extremely happy about how fast things are moving, like way beyond any expectation that we may have had when we actually launched the business. In terms of like tech, how we will use this investment is, so we have two main priorities for the next 12 months. Number one is keep improving our data models in order to keep finding better and better deals for our clients. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but also we track by how much we outperform the market. So currently we outperform the market 2.1 times, and we want to keep getting better and better at this. That's like priority number one, data models. Priority number two is the digital journey. And here, even though we've made great progress, we still have a lot of work to do. What we want is to reduce the time people spend on investing in property by about 99%. That's our target here. And just as you mentioned before, it's about like digitizing all of these steps, becoming the integrated digital one-stop shop that make property investment a super time efficient and enjoyable experience.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing that, Mickael. I love what you're doing because one of the things that I think is actually so exciting about PropTech and also what we're about to come to talk to Ajay is the differences between, for example, investing in the stock market versus investing in residential real estate are huge. And anything we can do to close that gap, I think, is fantastic. Okay, Ajay. Let's come and talk about PropertyDirector. In a nutshell, can you please introduce us to PropertyDirector? Give us your elevator pitch.
Yeah, sure. PropertyDirector is a digital platform built specifically for real estate investors. So in a nutshell, what we do is we provide digital tools to support property investors throughout their property investing journey. So very much focused on, digital tools for property investors. So we've all heard about the big players like realestate.com.au and domain.com.au, which are basically a big part of what they do is property listing services. But what we identified is that as property investors ourselves, there wasn't really anything in the market built specifically for property investors. There's so much information available on the internet. So what we wanted to do is to try to provide a single system with all the key tools that property investors need. So you can basically break down what we provide into 3 key areas. So firstly, we provide a digital bookkeeping system, allowing the investor to track and visualize their property portfolio. That's easy to use, but at the same time, comprehensive and sophisticated. Pretty much property accounting, that's part 1. Second part is we provide a suite of research and market activity reports covering all Australian suburbs, which investors can rely on to cover all of their property research. And then finally, we provide access to property forecasting tools, allowing investors to project how much their portfolio is going to be worth going forward up to 10 years based on historical data patterns. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what we do. So very much focused on property investors, although there are first home buyers who also use our platform to research suburbs and get access to data, but our core market is property investors.
Fantastic. So let's understand a little bit more. What would it look like for property investors if they were trying to do all this themselves? If they're trying to do the bookkeeping and the financial admin and keep track of how their portfolio is performing, if they didn't have access to PropertyDirector, what difficulties and challenges would they be encountering?
So a couple of things there. So one is a lot of the old school property investors, people who have a lot of investment properties, they're still very much focused on, I guess, the paper-based sort of approach, or they use Excel spreadsheets to track their portfolio. There's nothing wrong with that, but I guess the issue with that is you don't have everything in one place, and there's also a lot of flexibility in having your portfolio digitized on a digital platform. So one of the things that we do at PropTrack is we partner with top-tier data suppliers like Pricefinder and SQM Research, where we actually use some of the historical data patterns to forecast their portfolio. So the advantage of adding your properties to a system like PropTrack is you just add your property in there, and once it's been added, you can forecast it. You basically pick up all kinds of different data sets and actually apply some algorithms to that data and then give them insights that they otherwise wouldn't be able to see. So I think
so that at the individual property level, so that's customized for their individual holding in their portfolio.
That's correct, yeah. So the system will know, for example, if you buy a property in, I don't know, Castle Hill or a house, the system will know, okay, so it's a freestanding house, it'll know the type of property, the suburb where it's located, and also the median growth for that particular area in the last 40 years, and it'll give you the forecast. So the advantage is, the fact that you're able to tap into those tools digitally means you can do a lot more, rather than just simple bookkeeping, everything's in one place, and there's a lot more flexibility as far as what you can do.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So can you tell us a little bit more about some of the tech solutions you have? For example, the Portfolio Bookkeeper and the Portfolio Forecaster product. Is there any limit to the number of properties an investor can manage on your platform, for example?
No, so we try to keep our plan pretty simple. So we've got 3 different subscription options, and all of them allows the investor to add unlimited properties, and they can upload as many statements as they want. So all of that information, it's unlimited. So we just try to keep it. That's one of the things that the investors like about our platform is, we just try to keep it straightforward. And we've got investors there who've got 1 investment property up to, I've got one Hong Kong businessman who's got over 60 investment properties using the platform. We try to keep it, simple. So there's no sort of special additional cost associated with multiple properties.
Do you have an ideal customer, or it's pretty broad?
Yeah, look, we are lucky enough, as you said earlier when you started this off, Jennifer, Aussies love real estate, and we're lucky enough to have a lot of high-profile people on our platform, executives, sports coaches, and celebrities, stuff like that. So, look, I guess on average, in terms of the number of, investment properties on average on our platform would probably be about 8 or more. But the ideal one we've got one guy who subscribed very early on when we launched PropTrack. He's got 20 investment properties, but I think he's got probably a few more now. And luckily, he's actually a buyer's agent. So we actually partnered with him as well. And he actually bought the white label of our solution. That's one of the other ways that we generate revenue is we basically gave him an exact identical version of PropTrack, but branded with his branding. And then he basically pays us a fee, and then he sells it to his customers. So for us, he's been the perfect customer because he loved our platform. He uses it every day. But at the same time, we're able to generate additional revenue through his influence. So for us, that's the ideal customer. It's great to see people engaging and using your tools and getting value out of it.
Fantastic. Do you have any kind of quotable quotes of positive feedback you've had from some of your customers?
Quotable quotes. Look, we've put up a few testimonials, but I can give you a general impression. I think what investors like is the fact that we're able to easily visualize their portfolio. So one thing that we pride ourselves on is we can take a lot of data, a lot of information, and we're able to visualize that easily. So I guess they enjoy just utilizing it. For example, we've put our forecasting tools very easy to understand. Like I said, the guy who's got 20 investment properties, he can add all his properties, and it really easily shows you over a period of 10 years how his portfolio is going to grow, both in a visual and a tabular format. So we do that with our research reports as well, where the investors can compare up to 6 suburbs simultaneously. So it allows them to basically do a lot of things on the one screen in a very simplified way. So I guess you're simplifying the complexity associated with the data, with such a large amount of data associated with investing. The fact that we're able to simplify it, I think, is something that a lot of the users have appreciated.
Fantastic. And can you give us a glimpse at what features and benefits are coming up on your roadmap?
Yeah, sure. So we've got a number of things in our product backlog. I think the key one that we're focusing on is just in continuing to extend the types of forecasting tools that we've got. So investors love to play out different scenarios. So what we're looking to do is to build what we're going to call like a scenario playpen, where the investors can actually play out 5 or 6 different scenarios over a period of 30 years. And they can say, okay, in the next year, I'm going to buy 2 properties. And then the couple of years after that, I'm going to refinance. And then I'm going to basically project interest rates. So that's going to be quite a big piece of work, but we're trying to build that sort of this year sometime, hopefully by second half of the year. So basically things in the area of property forecasting, and then over a period of time, maybe building up a bit of a property investment community as we grow. And look, we've got a lot of things in the pipeline, but I'd say the key thing will be around property forecasting, continuing to extend the research tools, partnering with more data suppliers, and just providing more property investing tools for our clients.
Fantastic. Well, you might enjoy having a conversation with Eleanor and the team at PropTrack if you're looking for more partners.
Yeah, absolutely.
For data supply, and also obviously Mickael at PropHero, because I can see there's some natural synergies amongst all the guests we've got here today on the PropTech panel.
Mickael and I have already met, so yeah, we'll hopefully chat further shortly.
Lovely. Now, Ajay, did you build this essentially to solve your own problem? I'm just curious, what was the inspiration to start PropertyDirector?
Yes, actually, yeah. The answer is yes. I'm very much passionate about real estate investing and technology. So that's my profession and background. So 2 of my other business partners are also passionate about the same thing. They have their own portfolio. So yeah, we were just looking for tools where basically I can add my portfolio and I can visualize it and do things like that. So it started actually absolutely started as I was lucky enough to start investing when I was quite young. So in terms of what the business itself, it's based on those 2 passions, which is real estate and technology. That's where it came from. And myself and my 2 business partners, we've got skills in different areas, but those 2 things have in common: real estate and technology. And my other partners, one of them is a finance director. He's an accountant, so he was able to bring a lot of smarts in terms of our bookkeeping tool as well. So yeah, it's actually, I think a lot of things start. That's what's kept us motivated to keep going. And we love meeting other property investors. One of the other good pieces of feedback we get is we're pretty accessible. We meet a lot of these guys face to face, our own clients, and we're always out there just talking and getting feedback from other property investors. So yeah, absolutely started with me and my business partners.
And how did you land on the name PropertyDirector?
Yeah, I made up like 100 or 200 names, and I was just talking to a friend, bouncing off the idea off him, and I said, ProptyDirector, what do you think about it? And I thought it was a bit simplistic, but he said, no, that's perfect, go with that. So then, and then we put it on, we're doing initial visual designs, and we saw that the graphic designer put it on the screen, and sometimes when you actually see it, it actually makes sense. So you look at it like, yeah, that's good. So I think that's, it's solid, professional, and simple, which I think is what our business is all about. So yeah, that's where that came from.
Thanks so much for sharing that with us, Ajay. Mickael, I'm going to come back to you now and ask you those same last 2 questions. Did you essentially start PropHero to solve your own problem? And where did the name come from?
Actually, it's exactly right. It came from my own experience investing in property. So I moved to Australia about 7 years ago, something like this. After 2 years, I was legally allowed to invest in property. But at the time, I was working a lot. I was an associate partner at McKinsey. I was specialized in data and AI. So I had savings, but no time. And then I thought, even though I was passionate about property, I said, well, let's go with professionals who will have a better knowledge and more experience about it. So I hired a buyer's agent from one of the most famous buyer's agencies in Australia. And in the end, I realized that I still spent dozens of hours to realize this investment. I realized also that the industry was mostly relying on gut feeling still, which to me felt like crazy. You know, like on one side in my job, I was creating these amazing capabilities with AI in banking, telco, insurance, media, etc. And on the other side, for one of the most important financial decisions of my life, I was relying on, like mostly gut feeling while spending like all of my Saturdays.
That's actually very Australian. We have this saying, oh, she'll be right. And there's also people have this belief, I guess, that you actually can't go wrong. Like people tend to believe you can't lose money in property, which unfortunately some people have had the experience that you can, even though the majority don't.
Yeah, and that's exactly that, right? And I wish PropHero had existed when I first invested in property in Australia. But yeah, so that's why I launched this company. Right? So I left my job that I really loved before. So yeah, just to solve the problem of people who want to invest in property, but who believe in data, who believe in just who are also interested in a much more like digital and much more time efficient way of doing things. So that's kind of like why we launched PropHero. And to your second question, Jen, around the name, it's actually a funny story. For weeks, we couldn't decide between PropHero and another name. And we thought, okay, it was with my co-founder, Pablo, and we thought, okay, let's just ask our friends and family, and we launched a poll on LinkedIn, thinking that we would get like 10, 15 votes. Actually, within like 48 hours, we had like thousands of votes and comments, and basically just equal people, like we had like hundreds of messages of people telling us, hey guys, I don't know if your PropHero thing will work, but it would solve my problem. So almost overnight, we had like hundreds of supporters and people who were kind of like our ambassadors for PropHero. And just our actually fun fact, PropHero only won with 51% of votes. But now I'm super happy that it went this way, because like I wouldn't change this name for anything.
I love the example you gave there of technology and crowdsourcing, getting your data so you could run the analysis to see what they're winning. That's a fantastic story, Mickael. Thank you so much. Eleanor, if I could come back to you for a minute, there was a question earlier. Someone was asking, in all of the data that you have access to, is any of that data looking at environmental or carbon issues? Is that something that is a feature of the residential real estate landscape?
Yeah, look, at this stage, we don't necessarily track, say, specific ESG metrics. Various corporates have signed up to reduce emissions with respect to the residential property sector, and PropTrack are assisting those corporates to drive behavior to reduce emissions. But there are really a myriad of different kind of property attributes that we do track, suburb trends and the like. So yeah, I guess if anyone's looking for more information, I think it would be best to either reach out through yourself and PropTech Australia, or reach out on the PropTrack website, and one of our product experts will be right back in touch to answer all their questions.
Fantastic. Guys, this has been a fantastic panel, fantastic way to kick off 2022. Eleanor, is there anything else about PropTrack that we haven't covered that you'd like people to know?
Yeah, look, I think we've covered a lot of what we're about and what we do. And really, I think when it comes to PropTrack, there just is a myriad of opportunity with the proprietary data sources that we have access to really just innovate the way we understand property. Obviously, my team, I sit within the economic insights team, and we're really focused on breaking down the market, what's happening, what's the data saying, and really helping people understand those trends. When it comes to PropTrack, there's a whole suite of different things as it relates to the products that we have on offer. So yeah, if anyone is interested today and wants to find out more about the data that we have, about the products that we have on offer, yeah, I'd suggest reaching out and one of our product experts will be in touch shortly.
Great. So what's the best way for people to connect with you personally, and to, for example, is there a contact form on the PropTrack website?
Yes, so to connect with me personally, I'd say LinkedIn is pretty good bet. So my name's Eleanor Creagh, if anyone missed it, and I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. But of course, if you want to as well, stay up to date with all the great insights that me and we've got a team of economists produce. We pointed to it earlier. It's the Insights tab on our website, and you'll really easily be able to find everything there, whether it's shorter, more snappy insights pieces, longer form reports. We've got our quarterly rental report, which is great for investors to look at what's going on with rental yields, rental prices and the like, demand for rental properties. We've got a monthly housing market indicators report that gives a great kind of overview of what's happening in the market, and the list goes on, a whole host of other reports that are easy to find on the Insights tab on our website. And yeah, when it comes to getting in touch with a PropTrack product expert, you should be able to reach out via the website, or of course we can have people reach out via PropTech, via you. And yeah,
thank you so much, Ella. Now, Mickael, I see you've put your email in the chat. That's fantastic. How else can people connect with you personally and also find out more about PropHero?
Look, guys, check our website, prophero.com.au. We're also on, I think, like every social media. I think our marketing team said this for us. Look, we are passionate about property. Even if you're not interested in what we offer, we love to chat about it. So if you have any questions, just reach out to us, reach out to me. We'll be happy to have a chat.
Fantastic. And Ajay, was there anything we didn't get a chance to cover about PropertyDirector that you'd like people to know? And also, how can people best connect with you personally and also find out more about your product?
Yeah, sure. So anyone on the call, you can just go to PropertyDirector.com.au. I'll put the links there once shortly, and you just get register for the free trial. Check it out for yourself. You can add your investment properties, forecast it, and you also use our deal analyzer to actually forecast your cash flow and capital growth for any property before you buy it. So you can check it out, and then you can email me. I'll include my information. You can email support@propertydirector.com.au, or you can email me directly at ajay@propertydirector.com.au, and I'll put my LinkedIn, our business page, and you can follow us there as well. So yeah, we love catching up with other property investors. You probably see me and a few other guys at events. There's a lot of property investor and developer events on meetups throughout Sydney. So yeah, happy to catch up and just chat real estate.
Fantastic. Well, I think that probably brings us to the end of a fantastic first PropTech panel for 2022. I'd like to thank our expert guests for joining us today. Thank you very much to Eleanor Creagh from PropTrack.
Thank you very much. It's been great to be here today, and yeah, good to chat.
Thank you very much to Mickael Roger from PropHero.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks for organizing this.
And thank you very much to Ajay Ayyar from PropertyDirector.
Thanks, Jennifer, and thanks, Mickael and Eleanor as well.
As I said before, if you'd like to find out more about the PropTech Association, head on over to our website, which is proptechassociation.com.au, and also check out our LinkedIn page and follow. You'll find some takeout posts now sharing the information we've learned today from our panel. There'll also be a YouTube link in a couple of days where you can watch back the recording, and lots more information about our news and events for the rest of 22. Thank you very much for joining me, and see you next month for next month's PropTech panel.